All right, perfect. Well, welcome to the A Step Ahead demonstration. We're going through the zombies, and you can see on screen a live version of the game. We've got an in-house challenge going on right now that you guys are viewing. So what I want everybody to be aware of is each of these flags represents a team, and then my team is actually these humans right here, and we're highlighted. We're just behind this other team, and we're almost to the safe house. And the safe house is kind of the finish line that you want to reach each week. Now, if I move all the way back, you'll see the zombies there, and the zombies are chasing us, and that hand represents the zombies. All right? Now, it's important to note that your team moves at an average of everyone on the team's pace. So if you've got 9 people on your team, and they're all moving at, one of them's moving at 10,000 steps, and all the others are moving at 2,000, well, you're going to be at a fairly low pace for that week. So it's important to get everybody up and moving as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, all right? And the objective is to reach the safe house. Now, the way you generate points is you get points for steps, and you get points for reaching the safe house first. Now, my team didn't reach the safe house first this week. We've got another team that did, so they got a point bonus for that. The other way to generate points is to get everybody on your team tracking additional exercise. So things that can't be captured from a pedometer, such as yoga, lifting weights, swimming, those types of activities. We want to incentivize every healthy behavior you have to make sure that it benefits your team and your character within the game. Okay, so the first thing is obviously steps. And what I want to do is I want to go to this main navigation button up here at the top, the cell phone. This is the starry icon. I click on that, and it says, how can I help you? I want to enter my steps. So I'm going to click on enter my steps. Now, I actually have a Fitbit connected to the game, and you can see I've got 2,378 steps for the day so far. If I don't have a Fitbit, a Misfit, a Withings, or a Jawbone device, then what I'll need to do is manually input my steps. And the way I can do that is I just click on enter steps manually, and I can put, for instance, 5,500. I'll save that, and that'll load that step count into the game. So, for instance, if you've got another device, if you've got an Apple iPhone, or if you've got an Apple Watch that records steps, you can manually input that data. Now, it's important to know that there's a daily cutoff for entering steps. You've got to get your steps in by midnight because that's the only way that we can show an accurate picture of where everybody is on screen, is if we've got a cutoff each night to show, okay, everybody's at this point in the game. If we allowed steps to be entered at any given point over the 6 weeks, you would never know where you stood relative to the other teams. So it's very important to get your steps in by midnight each and every day, okay? All right, so I had showed you how to enter steps manually. Let's say I go for a run and I completely forget to put on my pedometer, or maybe I don't even have a pedometer. What I can do is enter walk, run, time or intensity. So let's say I went for an hour run. I can move the intensity to run. I'll hit save. And what the system will do is generate an estimated number of steps for me. So the system projected that if I went for an hour run, I would cover 9,360 steps. Okay? All right. So that's one way. And if you make an invalid entry and you want to correct it, all you have to do is hit 0, save, and then you can clean the slate. And for instance, it's going to default to my Fitbit since it's going to default to the highest value there. All right, so that's step entry. That's crucial to progress your team across the board. And I want you to see the level of transparency within the system as well. So I'm going to click on the scorecard up here, that star icon, and you can see how everybody in the game's doing. Everybody in the game, I can view my team, see where everyone is. I can click through and view other teams as well. And we can view as today, we can view yesterday. This chapter is this week, how many steps have covered up to the point in the week. And then this episode is all the way up until whatever point you're at in the episode. Your team placement is going to be listed up here at the top. So currently, Loft 9 Love Flesh is in 14th place. All right, and we can click through and see each of the team placements. Now we also want to view score. I touched upon how you can get points within the game. Number one is steps. Step count's crucial. You also want to make sure that you're tracking exercise. So zombie kills. Basically, this team hasn't generated enough exercise tracking to get their total points. Now, each and every day, every team, regardless of size, has a total point max of 2,500 potential steps. You can see this particular team's only gotten 1/5 of that. They've gotten 500. Your survival modifier is crucial as well. It's important to keep as many of your teammates alive as you possibly can. All right? The more teammates you lose to the zombies, the less potential total score you can generate. All right? So that's how to win the game. That's essentially how you win. You progress across the screen with your steps, you track additional exercise, and you get to the safe house first. All right? Now, the other important things I want you guys to know about are health. Now, you can see my character's already actually maxed out on health, but let's say she was at three hearts. Well, what I would need to do is go to my tracker. So I'm going to go back to the home screen. How can I help you? I want to track my healthy activities. So I'm going to track for the current day. I'm going to go down to diet. Only diet and lifestyle can improve your character's health. Those are the only tracking items that can help me. I'm going to go to diet. And this is high-level nutrition tracking. Did I eat my vegetables? So, for instance, I didn't have any vegetables for breakfast, but I had some healthy fat. I had some lean protein. I had some water this morning, so I'm going to track that. And all I'm doing at this point by clicking this check mark is loading those items into the queue. They have not been confirmed yet. All right, let me go back to lifestyle. Let's see if there's some lifestyle things I can track. So I'll go to lifestyle. And these are more stress management things you can do or other activities that benefit your health. So if you make your own meals, let's say I made my own breakfast this morning. I got some quality sleep last night. I got my slumber power bonus, so I'm going to get that. And then I'm going to confirm all those selections. And what you would see at this point, if I was at 3 stars, now all of a sudden I would be at 5 because I tracked those healthy activities. Now the point where it's most important to track your healthy lifestyle choices. Hold on just a second here. I've got my screen's acting up. Hang tight, guys. I think I actually hit the back button by accident. We're going to go back out. There we go. So we're going to go back to the screen. And what you want to do is refresh your screen as I did. If I was at 3 stars, then now I'd be at 5. Okay? Now the zombies are here. If my team was behind the zombies, I would lose health each day. I would actually get sick. And I would lose at an equivalent value of these hands showing. So if I stayed in contact for multiple days and I get down to 0, then I'm going to turn into a zombie. Now, if I turn into a zombie, I've got 2 choices. One, I can continue to play as a zombie, and I can chase down my former teammates and my coworkers. Or, if I want to return back to my team, I need to track healthy diet and lifestyle choices each day for 5 consecutive days until I build back up to 5 hearts, and then I'll be converted back into a human. All right? Now, I mentioned exercise tracking, and I want to make sure you guys know how to do that because that's another way to generate points. So I'm going to click on the tracker here. I'm going to go back to track my activities. And we've got pretty much every activity that you can think of within these options. I've got strength training, cardio, and flexibility. I'm partial to strength training, so I'm going to click on that. I worked out this morning, did some powerlifting this morning. You can toggle the time. I actually did just about an hour. I did an hour, so I'm going to check that. Now, exercise tracking actually is going to benefit your team's class strength. So I'm going to track this, and I'll show you what value that adds. Okay, I'm going to track that, hit the OK button, close out. I'm going to need to refresh my screen so I have the most up-to-date information showing on screen. So I'm going to hit the refresh button. It's going to load the screen, and you're going to see a little bit of gain in my class strength. See that little bump? Now the class strength, what that helps you do is actually push back the zombies. So if we were in zombie contact, if we were behind these guys, this would actually help us push them back. We would have a negative impact on their progress. All right, but we're actually well ahead of them. So at this point, what I'm doing with that is gaining points. I'm generating zombie kills. All right, so key takeaways. Number one, got to get your steps in on a daily basis. Number two, track those healthy exercises that you perform. If you get all of your teammates to track exercise, you're going to generate that daily point bonus of 2,500 points for your team. All right? And then last but not least, you can generate improvements in your health by tracking diet and lifestyle. So diet and lifestyle help you stay healthy, help you stay alive when you're in zombie contact. Now, one other aspect I want to show you guys is the Utilifit games. And these are specifically designed for folks that may find themselves sitting for 6 to 8 hours at a time. And you've got some early morning meetings. You're not going to have enough time to go to the gym in the morning. You've got some family obligations that evening. You know you're not going to have time to go to the gym after work. Well, how do you get your exercise in? Well, what you can do is play what we call the Utilifit games. And I'm going to start a game right here, actually. I'm going to go down to Start Game. Start it now. And what it's going to do is deliver a very brief activity to me, something I can perform in general office attire. It's going to take minimal amount of my time. This 5 repetitions of lunges each side, that could probably take me a total of 30 seconds to perform. Definitely less than a minute. All right? So as soon as I perform that activity, I hit this green I did it button. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to click the I did it button. It's going to generate some points for me. And basically, I'm generating points that are equivalent of exercise. So if you know you're not going to have enough time to go to the gym, you can add value to your team by contributing via those Utilifit games, tracking those activities that you perform. Now, when you guys signed up, you actually signed up for a program at a cadence of either once an hour or once every 2 hours. So that'll dictate how frequently you receive those challenges. It's a completely optional aspect of the game. You're not required to play Utilifit games at all, but it's just one other way that you can generate some healthy activity for the day and help benefit your team. All right? All right, so I've covered the major components. I want everybody to be aware that the distance to the safe house distance is meant to be covered by Friday. So if you don't want to participate on Saturday and Sunday, there's no obligation to as long as your team gets to the safe house. You guys are not at risk of becoming zombies. But let's say it's Friday and your team's out here. You're out in kind of no man's land. You want to make sure you get a little activity in over the weekend because you don't want those zombies to catch up to you on Saturday or Sunday. So the safe house distance, again, is designed to be covered by Friday. If you're getting some solid steps in, you're going to be able to achieve that without any issues. All right? Well, that's it for my demonstration. I'd love to open up the floor to any questions at this point.
I'm going to try unmuting it and see if you can hear them.
Okay.
Faster than me trying to type things in. I'm not very fast. Anybody have questions?
I haven't logged in and did all this yet, but if we're on vacation and we're gone somewhere, will it automatically log through our phone back to our computer, or do we have to set that up or do that manually?
Did you hear that, Ben?
It was a little muffled. I couldn't hear very well.
He's wondering if he's on vacation, if it will automatically go into his phone, or will he just need to log onto the website on his phone?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you've got a Fitbit, if you've got one of those devices that sync to our system, a Fitbit, a Misfit, a Withings, or a Jawbone, as long as you're syncing that device while you're on vacation, we'll pull those steps into the game without a problem. If you're manually tracking, then you may want to get one of your teammates to manually input for you if you want to email them. But you can access the system from your smartphone, from your desktop, from any device that connects to the internet, an iPad, an iPhone, a desktop computer. You can play this game no matter where you are in the world. Did that answer your question?
Yes, good. Can you explain what these are? Can you see me moving the mouse?
I can't see your mouse. I only see my screen. Which?
The little tags that are above the people. That,
Yes. So these things here.
Yes.
Those represent different teams, and those are basically team icons that folks can load to represent their team, so they can pick them out amongst the all the teams on participating. So you'll see this image here, and then when I click into the scorecard, you'll see it up here in the corner. So that's just it represents my team there. And so the reason we do that is we want you to be able to see where you are relative to all the other teams, but we didn't want to populate all the humans, all the avatars on screen, because it would just look like a massive group of people. So the images that are populated are your teammates. So these are all my teammates, but everybody else participating is just represented by their team flag.
So those icons that your team captain loaded, that's the team that you're seeing.
Exactly right, yeah. And if you guys, I'm going to double check this week to make sure we've got all those images, but if you don't, or if we, for instance, we start the challenge and for some reason you don't have your image in, you can definitely email me, ben@fix-fit.com or support@fix-fit.com, and we'll make sure we get that team icon loaded. But I believe majority of you guys already have that in.
Yes, someone else had a question.
So does the challenge start on Saturday every week?
Did the challenge start on Saturday was the question.
No, the challenge starts on a Monday, I believe. I don't think we changed anything. And the challenge runs from Monday to Sunday. So each week is Monday morning through Sunday evening.
Any other questions? Yes.
I can't really tell what happened with 3 times. Did it just go in a little bit, or?
She was asking about the strength training exercise, how that affected the game. She didn't see it that moved anybody any further.
Okay, good question. So the strength training, the only thing that moves my team across the screen is steps, nothing else, just steps. But exercise such as strength training and swimming, yoga, all of that generates what we call zombie kills. This image here, that value of 6 represents my tracked exercise, that powerlifting session that I recorded that was an hour. That's what that represents. Now, in terms of points, you still generate your help for your team, because I just generated 277 points for my team. Since I've got 9 players on my team, the total that each of us can generate is 9 divided by 2,500. If you had 5 people on your team, you could generate 500 points each. But that's the value it has, is each individual can contribute to their total points by tracking those exercises. And then again, if you're in zombie contact, it's going to improve your class strength, and I'll actually be able to push back the zombies. I'll have a negative impact on the progress. So tracking that additional exercise is very important.
I have a Fitbit, and I don't think it till the next day will I lose all those steps.
Did you hear that?
I think I heard if you have a Fitbit and you don't sync to the next day, will you lose your points? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the good news is we have something called a differential calculator in place, which is basically like a safety net. Now, the game is designed to be played to where you're entering your steps and syncing your steps on a daily basis, but we realize, life happens, things get in the way, and so it's possible that you may sync late, and when you do, our system will compare the steps that it has registered within the game versus what's reflected on screen. And let's look at Greg Fountain, for example. So Greg's got this plus sign right next to his name, his steps. I'm going to click on that. And the system says, hey, you've got 141 steps that we didn't see on your step count for yesterday. We're going to log those on to the steps today. So they're going to add that. So that's our safety net. Now the differential calculator runs about 2 times a day, 6 a.m., noon, 3 times a day, 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. each and every day. It runs a comparison. So you may not see those steps reflected until, depending upon when you log in, until either noon, 6 p.m., or 6 a.m., but it will pull those steps. But for example, if you go 2 or 3 days without syncing, you're going to lose everything further back than 24 hours. And the reason is we want to have a balance of trying to show an accurate depiction of where everybody is on screen. If we allowed people to track, 3, 4, 5 days in the past, then all these teams, they would jump all over the place at any given point, and nobody would ever know where they stood relative to the other teams in the race. And so that's why we've got that cutoff. The other reason we've got that cutoff is our ultimate objective with this game is to add just a few more healthy habits to your daily routine. And if you get in the habit of checking those things on a daily basis, by the time you end the challenge, you'll realize, wow, I'm walking 2,000 extra steps a day, or I'm focusing more on eating vegetables, or maybe I'm getting that extra workout in each week. And that's our overall objective. If you're looking into that each day, you're more likely to add that to your daily routine.
So if you're manually entering them, you have until midnight that day. If you're using your Fitbit, then it's 24 hours, correct?
Correct. And you can also, the manual input will work for the previous day as well. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're not doing any more, any further back than 24 hours, rather.
So when you log in, is that when it's syncing? Not syncing automatically?
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
So when you're logging into the Fitbit page, that's when it syncs? That's when it...
Yes. So basically the communication line is you've got the device on your wrist, right? We don't communicate with the device on your wrist. We actually communicate with the Fitbit cloud, they call it. So the information's has to get relayed from your device to your Fitbit app. And typically, for example, with iPhones, you have to open up that app and then it'll sync with the device. But generally, they communicate via Bluetooth, which will be on most of the time for most devices. And then once that information gets relayed to the app, that's when we pull it in. That's when we're able to pull it into our system.
So you have to sync your Fitbit, and then it'll sync to the app, to your page. Okay.
Yeah. So just because the information's on your Fitbit doesn't mean we've got it. It's got to get relayed to your phone. So let's say I go for a run, but I left my phone in my car. I'm not going to get that information until my device is close to my phone and I've synced it up.
If she manually enters steps multiple times a day, does she have to subtract what she entered?
Good question. At this point, you have to do a lump sum entry for manual entry, so you'd want to add them up. We are working on to where you can just enter them throughout the day, and they'll add on to each other. But right now, what I would get in the habit of doing, like if I've got another device, is just before I go to bed, do one lump sum entry.
So if I want to become a zombie, how do I do this?
I don't know what she said. No. If she wants to become a zombie to hunt down others, how does she do that?
Okay, so if you want to become a zombie, which we've seen folks do, that's totally okay. What you would do is basically hang back for the first few days, not track any steps, and then you wouldn't track any health because you'd want your health to deplete. And so you'd let the zombies get ahead of you. You'd go down to being sick, and then as soon as you're down to 0, the next day, you're going to be a zombie. And then you're going to have the ability to, at that point, depending upon the number of steps you put in for the zombie horde, I'll show you. So right now this is an automated pace for the zombies. But if I have another human player that gets added, they can alter that step count. They can accelerate the zombies, make them move at 4,000 or 5,000 steps a day.
And then to become not a zombie, I just have to help you out to 5 days.
Yes.
So you don't turn human again at the beginning of a new week?
No.
Okay.
You have to be, you have to be healthy. You have to be healthy 5 days. Yes.
So if one of your teammates goes rogue, decides to become a zombie.
Sorry,
What
what?
does that do to your team? I mean, are we,
Yep. The question was, if one of your teammates goes rogue and becomes a zombie, what happens to your team?
Okay, yeah. So the only way for, typically if you guys wanted to become zombies early on, you'd have to organize as a team to do that. If one individual wanted to do it, they basically have to wait until their entire team's behind the zombies. Because again, you're moving at an average of everybody's pace on the team. So, you know, if you're walking 0, but all your teammates are covering 5,000 steps a day, well, then you guys are you're gonna move at an average of that. So, the way to kind of peel off your teammates, let's say in weeks as they progress, those zombies get faster. They don't stay at the same pace. Even the automated pace gets faster. The challenge gets more difficult as the weeks progress. But if you're tracking health, you're tracking healthy diet and lifestyle choices, and you've got one of your teammates that isn't, and you guys are behind the zombies, well, that teammate's going to peel off. Instead of being a team of 5, for example, now you're going to be a team of 4. And you're actually going to accelerate across the screen because you no longer are having to carry that teammate. You're going to be averaged at a 4-person team rather than a 5-person team. So that's one way to lose teammates to the zombies.
Does everybody know how to to add their Fitbit or whatever your tracker is to this? Can you show people how to add the tracker?
To add a device, you mean?
Right.
Yeah. So if I wanted to add a device, I could click here. I'll go to Manage Pedometers. I've already got my Fitbit synced, but if I wanted to add another device, I'd just go Add a Device. I would click from the drop-down menu. So I've got 3 remaining options. I've got Jawbone, Misfit, and Withings. Now what I want to have handy when I do this is my username and my password for those specific devices. Because I'm going to click on, let's say I click on Misfit, or Jawbone, for example, and I hit Save. And I want to name the device, let's say Ben's Jawbone. And what will happen is a pop-up screen will show up, and it'll ask me to enter that information. All right? Well, let's go back in there. Attach account. So I haven't attached this account yet. I need to hit Attach Account. And see this pop-up screen that comes up? This is going to ask me to enter my username and my password for those specific sites. And if I don't do that, then I'm at risk of becoming a zombie. So I want to make. I'm sorry. If I don't do that, I won't be able to pull my steps in. So I got to make sure that I put in my username and my password there. Everybody catch that?
Another question back there.
Will the mobile app do anything for us once the challenge is active?
Mobile app?
I couldn't hear that question.
You mean the Utilifit app or
The one that's in the
there is not an app. Is that correct? There's not a Utilifit app in the app.
That's correct. That's correct. What we've got is we've got a fully functional mobile website, and it just has all the functionality of an app, But yeah, we do not have, currently we do not have an app.
I'll send the address to y'all. Any other questions?
So if you get to the safe house on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
last the rest of the weekend, or do the steps that you accrue over the weekend get extra bonuses for your team or get applied to next week's count?
Great question. Great question. So once you get to the safe house, you're safe from becoming a zombie, but you're more than welcome to continue to track other steps and other healthy activities at that point. It will not move your team further for the next week. So, you know, when Monday starts, everybody's at the same starting point. They're all starting with a clean slate. Does that make sense?
So if you work out over the weekend, will that help build your strength and everything? That's still going to be reset on Monday as well.
If you work out over the weekend, that's gonna continue to help your team.
And when will this be available on Monday? Will it be like midnight Monday, or I guess midnight?
Monday morning, you guys will be ready to rock. So if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll be ready to roll.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we're done, Ben. Thank you for calling in, and I guess we'll talk to you this afternoon at 2.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys, and feel free to email me if you have any other questions. Ben@fix-fit.com or support@fix-fit.com.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful